Hi guys, this is Scribbly again with another fountain pen review, and today I am going to review a Japanese fountain pen. It's a Sailor that comes in that nice little box here. The one that I'm going to talk about today is the Sailor 1911. It's the 1911 standard demonstrator pen. It's the one with the gold trim. The 1911 comes in a whole host of different sizes and finishes, with like full color bodies, special finishes, demonstrator pens with gold trim, silver trim. That one here is the gold trim 1911 standard demonstrator fountain pen. It says 21K here, which is not exactly true because it has a 14 karat gold nib. I think 21 karat is only the Pro Gears, at least in the ones available in Europe, but I'm not entirely sure about that right now. And I got the pen in a medium nib. You can slide that box here out, and out comes that nice little simple but nice looking Sailor box with the Sailor logo, with the Sailor anchor on top, a little thin gold band around. You can open the box, Sailor logo inside, some silver pen cushioning pillow. That is where the pen lays inside. Then I got mine from La Couronne du Comte in the Netherlands, and the pen, actually La Couronne du Comte has the pen at a really good price. You get it for 149 euro, which is actually a pretty good price, I gotta say. Yeah, and then yeah, you'll find the pen inside. The pen comes with a converter, and we'll have a look at the pen right now. So this it is, the Sailor 1911 standard, very classy fountain pen shape, very classy cigar shape. It's a demonstrator, as you can see. You can see all the inner workings in here. You can see the converter here. You can't exactly see the entire feed because like the nib feed housing unit is black, but you can see the nib in here. Something that I really like is that they have made this inner cap, it's slightly milky, you can see that here, this inner cap that prevents the nib from drying out, which works excellent. I've tried to put that pen down for a couple of weeks. I have that since August now, I think. I've once tried to put that pen down for a couple of weeks, then I opened it up and it just started writing again. There was no problem at all. I like that they've made that clear or milky so that you can actually see the nib in here. At times you can even see ink sprinkles in there, which is very nice. And yeah, I mean, like, you basically really see everything in here. So let's cover the pen a little bit from top till bottom. There is not really a finial here or something. It's just like this transparent plastic dome, which I find really nice. Then of course all the gold plated accents here. You find, you even see the screw that holds the clip and the top together in here. You have the typical Sailor clip that is actually the same. Then I have a Pro Gear here. So you see this is like this very typical, recognizable Sailor clip. Then you have a center band here in the middle. Says Sailor, Japan, founded 1911, flares down here a little bit. You see the threads in here. You see, as said, the nib in here, which I find really nice. You can even read 1911, see the anchor. You can read 14K 585 for the gold content. See that nice feed down here. Really nice. The clip is on the tight side, but it's definitely most usable. The pen is slightly smaller. I do some size comparisons in a bit. I like that because like it's very well, you can deposit that or like slide that into your shirt pocket. That works very well. Then as said, in total it's a cigar shape, a little bit thicker in the middle, then tapers down towards both ends. And then at the end of the barrel, you see those threads here also, that that end part here is screwed in with, but of course you can't unscrew that. And then it has another small gold accent band here at the end, and sort of the same transparent dome that you also have here on top of the pen. Very nice. As said, it's a slightly smaller pen. It's not that large actually. Size comparison follows in a second. The pen unscrews with 2 turns. yeah, that's something I would like if it could unscrew in only one turn, because it would make it actually a faster note taker. 2 turns, maybe Sailor thinks that's a bit safer. Anyway, it does unscrew with 2 turns. As said, inside here is this milky cap that prevents the nib from drying out. You can actually, for example, if you clean the cap and you put in a cloth or a tissue or something like that in order to remove maybe some ink sprinkles in here in the cap. So if you make that cap stuck on a tissue a little bit, you can, and then you pull, then the cap will come out with it. So that is just to say you can take that cap out for cleaning, for example, but also if you want to in this cap here to be totally clear, if you don't like this milky part here, you can take that out. I just don't know how well the cap will then prevent the nib from drying out and protect the nib. And then I also think, because when you close the pen like that and you screw it in, so the section here now screws against that inner cap, which will most likely also prevent you from over tightening the cap and maybe causing a crack in the cap. So I don't know if it's so good in terms of like the cracking issues that might then occur if you don't have anything to screw that against. Or if the nib will dry out once you remove that inner cap. But I just wanted to point out for you that you could remove that if that is something that disturbs you in the looks. Then of course we have the heart of the fountain pen here, which is the nib. This really nice Sailor nib, says Sailor 1911. Let me see if that works better with some white background paper. Sailor 1911 was actually better without, I guess. Some scroll work on there. The anchor as a sailor, the Sailor logo, 14K. Nib 585 for the gold content, and then Sailor has a breather hole there. Sailor's nib width indications are always to be found here on the side. This here says HM for hard medium. This pen here is available in fine, medium and broad. Of course, Sailor has like other nibs as well, a lot of specialty nibs and all that, but those are not available on that pen here, at least not from La Couronne du Comte. Maybe you can get them in Japan, I don't know that. And then you see this pretty typical Sailor feet down here. That pen actually here comes with like a full gold nib. I mean, like all those nibs are gold, but like, for example, if you compare it to the nib of the Pro Gear, the Pro Gear nib, first of all, it's larger. And then second of all, the Pro Gear nib is bicolor. The silver parts are rhodium plated, and the Pro Gear nib is 21 karat. The feet look similar, but of course also the Pro Gear feet is larger. But of course, if you want the Pro Gear, you have to add approximately another 100 euro to the price of the standard. As said, you get a standard for around 150 euro. The Pro Gear does cost around 250 euro. Then we have the section here. The section is fairly short, but there's no problem for me in holding the section. As you see, the overall pen, as said again, is rather short, but no problem. It works. I can write with that. It works. And what I like is that the pen is a little bit girthy, so it's really nice to hold. It's not too slim. It's very comfortable for me to hold. It's a pretty lightweight pen, not too lightweight, but it's really just an all right size on the slightly smallish side. Threads that we have here are not sharp, so you can hold the pen also up here if you want, if that is more comfortable for you, or you can hold it down here. It doesn't really matter where you hold it. To me, it's comfortable at any point. That section here is not slippery, so even when I write for a lengthy session of maybe 30 minutes or something like that, it doesn't get slippery for me. That works pretty well. Then we can open up the pen and have a look. Have a look at the converter. You find a small rubber O-ring here that seals very tightly when you screw that thing in. Then you have metal threads here. That also answers a possible question of, should I eyedropper that, or could I eyedropper that fountain pen? You can't, because that is metal here and that metal might react with the ink, so I wouldn't do that. And then of course you have a converter in here. see if I can take that out for you. Yep. And those are Sailor proprietary. You see that large opening hole here. So you either need special Sailor cartridges or you just use that converter. That ink here is that converter here is inked with Pilot Iroshizuku Yamabudo at the moment. So that converter does also come with the pen. And that converter like also works really nice, no problem at all. Mine was a little bit, it was a little bit not so smooth, so I just, you can unscrew that back part here, take the whole piston out. I applied a little bit of silicone grease, put the whole thing back in together, and that's it. Very nice. And then when you close the pen due to that rubber O-ring, that also seals nice and tight, which is really nice. Okay, before we hop into a writing sample, because I think otherwise we've covered most of the things about this pen, let's do a small size comparison. And because I just had it here, I'll do the size comparison again to the Sailor Pro Gear. And they're approximately the same size, right? That's like almost the same pen size. And then of course my standard reference pen, which is the Lamy Safari, which is quite a bit larger. And then maybe I might also throw in another quite small pen, a little bit less expensive, around 100 euro for a Pelikan M200. The Pelikan M200 is a little bit smaller. Uncap the pens. Let's uncap all of them. And see what happens. So that should do. So I think it's still fair to say that the Pro Gear and the 1911 Standard are approximately the same size. The Pro Gear is of course girthier a little bit. A Pelikan M200 would be slightly longer, a tad longer, maybe half a centimeter, not more. And of course the Lamy Safari is quite a lot longer. Oh, of course, now that we talking about posting, that pen posts, and it does post very, very securely. And when you post the pen, that becomes now a very, very comfortable writing size for me. So I normally, for short writing sessions as a note taker or so, I use it unposted. But when I write a little bit longer, like half an hour or 15 minutes or 20 minutes or something like that, then I do post the pen. The nice thing is that that thing here flares or tapers down like that. So it doesn't actually, you know, it doesn't pain here against the web of your hand. That is really nice. So it posts, as said, very securely and becomes a super comfortable full-size writer. I don't post the Lamy Safari. It then becomes even longer than a Lamy Safari. Let's post the Pro Gear here as well. Pro Gear does become a tad longer, and post the M200 and see what happens. Yeah, you see actually the 1911 is almost the same size than a posted M200 or a posted Pro Gear. So it's fair to say that if you're comfortable with any of those sizes, you are also going to be comfortable with the 1911 Standard. Put all those other pens aside, and then for the end of the review, jump into a writing sample. I leave the pen posted for that with this really, really extraordinary nib. I mean, Sailor nibs, I think, are some of the best. And you see that pen was now uncapped for I don't know how long in the course of this review, and still it just comes up straight away. It's a very rigid nib. Don't expect any, you know, gold nib, springiness, bounciness or whatsoever. It's very rigid, but it is extraordinarily smooth. I gotta say that. Sailor, oh, I'm writing Pro Gear. It's not the Pro Gear, of course. It's the 1911 Standard Demonstrator. You can hear the writing. It feels a little bit like, some people describe that writing feeling like writing with a pencil. Wetness, rather wet nib. It's a nice and wet nib. It's so smooth, but as said, no line variation. This is like no pressure right now. There's a bit more pressure. And that's a lot of pressure. You can actually get some out, but yeah, I mean, yeah. Oh, I'm surprised. Now that is a little bit more line variation than I have expected. But I would probably not always write with the pen like that. I mean, it is definitely a rather rigid gold nib, but very smooth, very nice. Backside writing works, a little bit scratchy, a little bit on the drier side, but if you do it slowly, you can do that. It's an awesome writer, I gotta say. I really like writing with that pen. Well, so that was that with the review of the 1911 Standard. I hope it was useful to you, and I'll see you at the next review. Bye bye.